everyone, this is Janessa Mosley with JM Wildlife Art, and today I'm going to be doing a video in regards to shipping and how I myself properly ship my boas. Today, a beautiful female boa, she's about 1 year old now from my first litter, her name is Poppy, is going to be going into her new home. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to take a video going over the shipping kit, going over everything that's inside, going over what I do step by step on how I myself properly ship my boas. I do apologize for the noise in the background. We do have other animals. We've got dogs, cats, birds. So I do apologize for the noise in the background. So there are several, I shouldn't say several, but everyone ships their animals, or reptiles in this case, a little bit differently. I myself like to get my shipping supplies and my shipping kits from Redline Shipping, just because it's easier for me. I started shipping boas a little over a year ago, maybe about 2 years ago, and I wanted to make sure I learned how to do it properly, to make sure that the animal arrives safe, that they arrive in a timely manner, that everything goes well. Making sure I get proper size box, making sure I get the proper supplies, making sure I know the guidelines with temperature. All of that is very important, so I'm going to do my best to go over all of that in today's video. And I will actually be taking Poppy to the FedEx hub right after I make this video. So this is everything I myself do when I get ready to ship a boa, as Poppy herself will be getting shipped out today. So I don't remember the exact measurements, but this is the shipping kit number 2 from Redline Shipping, if anyone wants to know the exact size. And there are guidelines here. It's going to be upside down because of the video, but there are guidelines here for the temperature, just in case anyone doesn't know or they're unsure. So for today, I will not be using a heat pack. Outside where I live in Northern California, it's about 88, almost 90 degrees outside, and this girl's going to be going to Florida, which it is equally just as warm out there, so we will not be using a heat pack. It even tells you right here, below 38 degrees Fahrenheit, don't ship. So if it's below 38 degrees, don't ship at all, even with a heat pack that's too cold. Between 38 to 69 degrees Fahrenheit, use a heat pack per our directions. So I will not be going over, I might go over how to properly use a heat pack, as that is important. I will not be putting a heat pack in this particular shipping box though, because of the temperature. And as it says right here, between 70 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit, do not use a heat pack. So I will not be using a heat pack. So I've also got a little journal here of a checklist that I have for shipping boas, just to make sure I go over everything and do everything properly. This is not something anybody has to do. I'm also using a butter knife to very gently get the foam insert off the top instead of prying my little fingers in there and accidentally ripping the foam. So each shipping kit, or if you don't get a shipping kit, if you choose to do your own box, make sure that the box does not have another company logo on it, as FedEx has recently changed their policy to where they will not be accepting live packages with other people's logos or business name on there. So that's another reason I like to use Redline shipping boxes. There are no logos or business names. So if you get the shipping kit, this is everything it'll come with from Redline Shipping. If not, if you choose to make your own shipping package, then you can go ahead and basically get these supplies yourself. So it should come with inserts, foam insert for each side. So the bottom, the top, and all 4 walls. And then I'm not going to use all the supplies in here. I don't need to. They kind of come with a little bit extra. But it comes with a container. You got a ship safe phase pack, and you've got your heat pack in there as well. Little extra plastic deli cup. We've got a zip tie, which I will be using in this video. One of the most important things here, making sure that you have the FedEx live reptile paper, basically stating that there is a live reptile inside. If not, you should have a labeling axe sticker, something that looks similar to this, basically stating it's a harmless live animal, it's a harmless reptile, it's non-venomous, what type of reptile it is, how many reptiles are in the shipping container. This is very important. It doesn't have to be specifically Redline Shipping. This is just what I choose to use personally. However, you always want to make sure you have a labeling axe sticker. It's also on the side of this box on this side, where you write the tracking number, what type of animals inside, the species, and how many. Another thing too is you want to make sure you have the label. I put the label on first. You want to make sure all the information on the label is correct. I will show that towards the end of the video when I actually get ready to tape everything off. So, taking the rest of the stuff out. Just a couple little extra goodies. You got a Redline Shipping sticker, which these things are not necessary. These are, like I said, just a couple extra goodies. Right here you've got the shipping bag. You can use a bag or a container, whatever your preference is. If you use a container, make sure they have air holes in them so the animal can breathe properly. I will not be using a container today. I will be using a bag, but as you can see, these have holes in them. So make sure if you are using a container that they do have proper ventilation holes. Once again, I will be using this bag. And then last but not least, or I guess maybe least, is the paper. This basically helps to control any type of impact, any type of movement. Same with the foam panels, which I'm not going to take all the foam panels out, but I will show that's what they look like. And this is basically, whether it be from Redline Shipping or another company, or if you use your own box, this is basically the basics of what the start of a proper shipping box should look like. Once again, the foam inserts are to help to protect the animal from any type of collision, any type of movement with the boxes. It's to help keep the temperature regulated inside the box. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here. I actually like to put this on the bottom myself. Kind of make a little divot, which typically before I even go over the shipping kit, the very first step I do is going over the animal. Before you ship an animal, you want to make sure that you have the correct animal that you're shipping, and you want to make sure, number two, which is equally, if not more important than number one, making sure that animal is healthy. So the only reason I'm not doing that right now is I've already done that prior to doing this video. I will, however, show the animal and actually show me putting her into the shipping box. So I will go over her again. I'm going to hold her and show her whole body to show you guys that she is the correct animal that I will be shipping today, and that she is healthy prior to me shipping her. Those are the two most important things prior to listing any animal for sale or selling or shipping any animal. So another thing too, I like to put about anywhere between 2 to 4 ventilation holes in the shipping box. So I myself typically pick a side, which I don't think it necessarily matters which side, but I like to do 2 on one side and then 2 on the other side, between 2 to 4. I like to use a little screwdriver, whatever your preference is on basically just making sure there's a ventilation hole. And then just poke. You want to make sure it goes through the foam. There we go. And you don't need too many ventilation holes. The box itself is not airtight. Plus, you still want to make sure that the temperature is controlled. So that's usually why I put between 2 to 4, usually about 4. So we've got one here towards the top. I'll put another one on this side. towards the bottom. Kind of take the little foam bits out of there. We'll go ahead and do this side. And we obviously don't want to poke any holes over the information or over the top or over the label. So we want to be mindful of that. So poke one over here. Oh, screwdriver fell out. Go. Put this back in here. And we'll do one more on the bottom of this corner here. And there we go. That part's all done. So we've got the shipping box, all of the proper contents. We've got the proper label on here, the proper information. And we've got our proper ventilation holes. So next thing I like to do is get this ready, which I apologize. I was going to do this prior to the video, but I wanted to show everybody, just in case they're new or beginners, what everything looks like. So I'm gonna set this just to the side here for a moment. And this is what the FedEx little packaging looks like. It does come with directions telling you where to peel and how to peel. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this open. Just like that. And there's a little slit here. Just like this. And you wanna take your paper here, place it into this packaging. Don't mind me taking a little bit longer here. I just want to slide that all the way in there. And then you want to go ahead and seal that off like that. And then we're going to move our zip tie out of the way because that's important. I like to use the bare side of the box. Probably should have done this before the air holes. We'll probably have to poke more air holes. So that's another thing. Learn from my mistakes, learn from my examples. And it does have a sticky part you can peel off the back. I like to put extra tape on there just to make sure everything's nice and secure. Make sure it's not upside down. Make sure it's the right side up. There we go. Stick that on here. That's also another reason I say between 2 to 4 ventilation holes, because sometimes they get covered up. So I will probably end up poking more holes here on the side. Like so. Actually, this actually covers this whole side, so we'll go ahead and just leave the 2 ventilation holes we've got on the other side. So there we go. Got this on this side. This side says perishable, handle with care. Perishable, handle with care. And then this is the tracking number and the information on what type of animal is in here. I like to make sure there's something on all 4 sides, just to make sure that no matter what angle someone is looking at the package, they know that a live animal is in here, and to make sure to handle the package carefully. So I will fill out this labeling act, which is going to be the same information on the back here when I get to the end. So now that we've got all that ready, I'm not going to put a heat pack in here, but I will show you what I would do if I were to. So this is the shipping warmer. Typically you would open this and there's a little heat pack inside. And then what I would normally do is get this heat pack and very securely tape it to one side of the box. I like to tape it to the side. Some people like to tape it to the top. I myself prefer not to tape it to the top, just because I feel like that heats up the entire box. It gives it more of an ambient temperature. I prefer to have a warm side and a cool side. That way, in this case, the boa can choose whether they want to be on the warm side or the cool side. It's very important. Do not use one of these if it is too hot. You will end up causing more harm to the animal. So always make sure you check the temperature guidelines on whether or not to use a heat pack or not use a heat pack. So once again, in this case, I will not be using one. I just wanted to show what it looked like and how I would properly place the heat pack if I were to use one. So that basically about covers everything as far as the shipping kit goes, what's inside. And just double check. Probably can't read it, but I actually made a whole little shipping boa checklist. This is just for myself to make sure I do everything properly. So make sure you have the correct animal. Check over the animal completely. Make sure they are healthy. We're gonna go get ready to do that again for the video. Go over the shipping label. Make sure information is correct. I already did that prior to the video. The shipping label is on the box on this side. All the information is correct. So go over shipping contents and make sure you have everything, which is what we just did, which I made a little checklist of everything that you want to make sure is in the shipping kit, or make sure that you have for the shipping kit to make sure you have everything ready. So you want to have a proper shipping box. I prefer to have a little bit bigger of a size for the animal so they have more room. It's safer for the animal, in my opinion. Once again, I don't know the exact measurements of this box. It says it on the website. This is the shipping kit box on Redline Shipping, the shipping kit number 2. So you want to have the proper size shipping box. You want to have your foam inserts, which we went over, and we have the top right here. So you want to have your paper to insert, which we already have, and we have in here that I showed at the beginning. Bag or container for the animal. We've got our bag that I will be using with the zip tie. We've also got containers I will not be using, but that is another option if that's what a person chooses to use. Labeling X sticker. We've got our labeling X sticker here, and it's also on the other side of the box. FedEx label, so once again we've got the label on the top, and we've also got the label here on the side. So string and zip tie. It did come with a zip tie. I have an extra bag of zip ties just in case. Heat pack if necessary. We've got our heat pack. In this case, it is not necessary. Tape for shipping box. So here's my tape. I'm honestly almost out of tape. I'm hoping this will be enough to properly tape everything. If not, I will go ahead and get more tape before I actually take the box to FedEx. So something for air holes. I like to use a little screwdriver to poke air holes. You can use anything you prefer. Just make sure you don't poke yourself. I have done that. So after all that, this is the order, or I guess not necessarily this order, but just go over everything again. Make sure there are air holes in the shipping kit. Make sure the heat pack is secured if you are using one. Make sure you have the secure bag or the container and that it's properly closed and secured. Put in paper insert. Make sure there are the paper inserts in there and all the foam inserts are in there. And then securely tape the shipping box. So the reason why I have all these steps for myself is, sometimes life gets busy. Sometimes I've got a lot on my mind. I want to make sure I go over everything and do everything properly. To be honest, the last boa I shipped back in May, so a month ago, because we're in June. So May of 2025, I don't remember what the date was, but back in May, I did everything you see here correctly, except I forgot the top foam insert. And I felt so bad. I messaged the seller immediately, let them know, hey, I got home, I see I forgot the foam insert. The boa should still be okay. If anything happens, let me know. I'm accountable, I am responsible. So thankfully the boa made it healthy, happy, there were no issues whatsoever. But that was something I felt very bad about. If anything were to have happened to the animal, I would have felt horrible. And that's not something I want to make sure the animal is healthy no matter what. That's my main priority, is that the animal is healthy and that they go into their new home healthy. So now that we've got everything here, I'm going to be right back and actually go get the boa we'll be shipping today, which I'm going to scoot this over and get our bag ready, which I will show her on the camera prior to putting her in the bag. Okay, I will be right back. So here she is. This girl right here, her name is Poppy. She's from my first litter. She's a 2024 female possible super hypo jungle, 100% het call albino, 50% het PK stripe, and possible het for blood. And she was not the only female in the litter. There were other females in the litter. However, she was the only female possible super hypo. All of the other possible super hypos are male. So she's very, in my opinion, very unique. And we're gonna go over the animal. Hopefully I'm showing properly in the camera. We're gonna look at her belly. We're gonna look at her sides. We're gonna look at her mouth, make sure that she's moving okay, make sure she's flicking her tongue properly, look over her eyes, make sure that the animal is healthy. I personally like to wait to ship an animal if they have just eaten. So I like to wait at least 5 days to make sure that the animal has properly digested their food and preferably used the bathroom. Thankfully, this girl just defecated or pooped. Pooped's kind of funnier to say, but defecated is the more proper term, so I'm going to say both. She pooped yesterday. I woke up this morning and there was a big old turd in her enclosure, and I had never been so happy to see a turd in my life. I'm like, oh my goodness, now she's not going to poop when I ship her. That's fantastic. So, and she's looking at my face right now like, what are you doing? I'm going to bite you if you get too close. I'm Poppy. She's a good girl. So, and you always want to make sure, like I said before, that you get a proper size shipping box for the animal you're shipping. I like to make sure they have extra room for a warm side and a cool side, so that way they're more comfortable. It's just easier on the animal. There's less likely for something to go wrong if they have a proper warm side and cool side and they have extra space. So that's my preference. I'm not telling anybody what to do or how to do things. This is how I ship boas myself. So let's get a little foam, some of the foam from poking the holes. I try to get all of it out. It's okay if you don't. It's no big deal. So we're gonna, just make sure this girl's healthy. And once again, make sure that they have at least 5 days before shipping to digest their food, Try to make sure they've defecated, that way they don't defecate in the bag. It does happen, we can't always prevent that, it's not always up to us, but there are things we can do to help prevent that. So making sure they try to use the bathroom before shipping them. You can always give them a warm bath too, that helps to kind of get them using the bathroom. So another thing too, making sure you have the correct animal, the animal's healthy, making sure that the animal is clean. Don't ship an animal if it's got poop on it. Things happen, but make sure the animal's clean. if they've got poop or something on them, you know, just check over them, make sure they're healthy and happy and not covered in poop. Nobody wants that. The animal doesn't want that. The buyer doesn't want that. No one wants that. So I've looked over Poppy prior to this video. I've looked over her now. As you can see, she's flicking her tongue good. She looks healthy, happy. She's moving around. She's had 5 days to digest her last meal. She's pooped. She's defecated. We got the shipping kit ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and get her ready to put in the bag. And right now she's, oh, sorry girl. She's kind of on my arm. They don't always like to go in the bag. This part's a little hard for me because I always get a little sad because I've been caring for the boas and working with them and looking at them and naming them. So I do get attached. I do get bonded. But that's one of the joys of doing this, is being able to share that joy, share that happiness, allow other people to have that love and care and be able to work towards these animals. So work with these animals. Excuse my wording. I do have a harder time talking publicly, so my words are a little bit off. I did say some things in my last video incorrectly, which I did correct in the comments. So hopefully I did a little bit better this video with explaining things and showing things and wording things correctly. So bye, Poppy. You're gonna go into your forever home tomorrow. I love you, Poppy. You be a good girl, okay? We're gonna put her just very gently in here. And I like to kind of put them towards the bottom, just so I have time to properly, I got space up here. I like to put my hands, close it off like this. That way the animal can't just slither up at the last minute. And then there are strings on here. I still use zip ties because either the first or second boa, actually I think it was the second boa I shipped, I did not use a zip tie. I just used a string. And let me tell you, I tied this string so many times and the boa ended up pushing through the bag and getting out of the bag. Thankfully the box was completely packaged properly, and with the foam inserts, the boa could not escape. But the buyer texted me in the morning and said, "Hey, I got Georgie. He made it out of the bag. He seems pretty happy though about being out." Thankfully they were very understanding, but I felt really bad. So now we're gonna get our zip tie that it's okay, Poppy. And sometimes if they've never been in a bag, if they're not used to it, they are gonna move around. They are gonna kind of, you know, be a little bit anxious. So you want to be mindful of that. Be mindful that the animal's never been through this before. Be gentle with them. Be calm. I know they can't understand us with our words, but just try to have a calm energy to you. That way they know it's okay, at least the best they can. So here's our zip tie. We're gonna zip tie it just right underneath where we tied it with the string. And we're gonna zip tie this completely like this. And you wanna make sure it's completely tight. That way she cannot escape the bag, she cannot push through the bag. These bags are made specifically for snakes, for boas. They do have very tiny little air holes so the animal can breathe. I promise you they can breathe. And you just very gently wanna pick the animal up. Grab your shipping kit. I like to say goodbye to them personally. You don't have to do this, I'm just sentimental. Bye, Poppy. I love you, Poppy. Very gently place them in the box. I like to make sure the paper is a little bit up and fluffy so they have more support. And then the part I'm not going to forget this time, making sure we add the top foam insert. Once again, when I did forget this piece, thankfully the animal arrived safe, they arrived sound, they were okay. However, that's why I make the checklist, making sure I go over things so nothing is forgotten. As once again, the health and the care of the animal are my main priority. So, put your top foam insert piece right over the top. Make sure you close the box properly. You should always have your label on top. Make sure you do not put the label over where the box opens. And we're going to get our tape. Hopefully this is enough tape. If not, I will be getting more tape. I want to make sure, go over that like that. There we go. Okay, everything looks good to go. I'm going to find a place for this sticker, which I'm actually going to put on top. I like to put a little extra tape on there. You don't have to put extra tape on there. I do for just to feel secure, which we're actually almost out, just about. And this is just to make sure the box stays closed, to make sure that the label stays on there properly. I'd rather be safe than sorry, so I also put another line of tape over here if I have enough for today. Which we do, thankfully. And I'm going to do one more on the bottom. You don't have to do this. This is a little excess on the tape, but once again, I just like to be extra safe and extra precautionary. Another one on the bottom. Nice and secure and safe. We get our other labeling act, and being that all the sides are a little bit preoccupied, as you can see, I'm going to put this on the top because there's already one on the side here. Oh, let's not lose it now. Just peel this off. This can go over the top of the box like this, as long as it does not go over the shipping label itself. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. Reptiles, I want to do the tracking number again. And then once again, you want to write the species of the animal and how many are in the shipping kit. So we've got boa imperator, and then times 1 boa imperator. This is very important too. If you do not have the labeling act on there stating the species and how many, they either will not ship your package, or it will be stuck at the facility on hold until they can determine the type of animal that's in here. I had this happen to me once. Thankfully, they called me right away in the morning. I was already ready to pick up the boa, and they said, hey, we don't know what's in here. And I said, it's a boa imperator. I'm so sorry. I had thought that the person I purchased the boa from had put that on there, and they accidentally forgot. So, which I accidentally forgot to put some things in there. I forgot to put some stickers and information in there that I wanted to put in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably reopen this and then retape it or figure something out. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure that out, because that is the one thing I forgot. See, I'm always forgetting something. I was too focused on making sure that the shipping kit was done properly, but I am gonna open this back up. These are just some stickers and information on the boa that I myself like to put with my boas when shipping them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but I'm not gonna do that in the video because I'm gonna figure out how to do that and then retape everything. So thank you everybody for watching. I'm gonna get ready to put these in here, retape everything, go take her to the FedEx shipping center. By the time this video is posted on YouTube, she will already be in her new home. So thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to drop a comment down below. Feel free to message me and reach out. I love hearing feedback. I love reaching out and being a part of the reptile community. Thank you everyone again for watching. I'm excited for Poppy to go into her new home. So I will keep you guys updated. probably make another video after she goes into her home too. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed day, a beautiful and blessed evening, or a beautiful and blessed morning, depending on what time you're watching and where you're from. Thank you everyone. I'll see you guys again later. Bye everybody.